First off, just kind of a little brief introduction. This is part two of a little orientation into RealScout. Part one was last week where we just covered some of the basic features, how to create a search, how to work. Primarily, last week we talked about working within RealScout for buyers, i.e., setting up a listing alert, much like you would do in FMLS One Home with an auto email. Same concept, same basic process, same criteria that you enter in. It all links to the MLS. Just looks a little different, and it's going to be a little bit more consistent. So we will. I'm not going to cover that in great detail and review, but then what we had just gotten to was starting to work with sellers within the RealScout tool. So that's where we're going to pick up. I do want to cover one thing that I failed to cover the last time about working when you're setting up a search within RealScout for buyers. And that is at the beginning of the search, you can either do a search within FMLS or Georgia MLS. You can, in theory, do both. And I think I did, now that I'm remembering, now I'm talking about this, I did remember talking about this earlier this week. The two systems will duplicate. So the house on 123 Main Street, if it appears in FMLS and Georgia MLS, your client will receive it in their search criteria twice. Okay, so one of the features that I like about RealScout is, one, I hate Georgia MLS with a red hot fiery passion. Can I get an amen? Thank you. All right. So you all feel the same way about it as me. So if I have a client that I am dealing with that is primarily looking for homes on the south side, one, I want to set them up on an FMLS search. Do I want to set them up on both at the same time? My position on this is probably not. So you can go in and do a cross-functional search within RealScout, which would look in both, but it would then duplicate it. I would go in and I would set them up two separate ones, one in FMLS and one in Georgia MLS. But the nice thing about RealScout is RealScout I'm familiar with. I like the look and the feel of it. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Every time I log into Georgia MLS, I have to reinvent the wheel. So that is one of the nice features. If you are one of those agents that works in both MLSs, if you do some stuff on the south side and need Georgia MLS, RealScout was a real answer to prayer for me personally, and I don't think I'm alone in that. Okay, so now that I have said that, I do want to make one more plug. There are still seats available for Ninja, the Ninja installation. For those of you that are brand new on here, Shamar and Jacob, if you guys want more information, talk to me about that. We can get you some information on when it is, where it is, November 14th through the 17th, 4-day intensive training program. Teaching you a selling system that is relationship based. It's awesome training. Okay. All right. So I am going to share my screen and we are going to launch right into our presentation on. Get to the right screen, everybody. Okay. Y'all looking at 3 steps for working with sellers?
Yeah.
All right. So here is where we picked up from the last time. So one of the first ways to engage your sellers, again, RealScout is primarily thought of as a buyer tool, but it really does have tools for both sides of the equation. So there are 3 ways to set up a market alert, which is something for you to stay very sticky with your clients that are potentially sellers. So you can hit market alerts from the menu toolbar on the left. There is a way to trigger it straight from the what to do, and also when you're adding a client or an alert directly into RealScout. Okay, so this is the screen when you're creating a new client. So we're gonna do this one up here, the add client from that button. You're gonna create the new client. You're gonna add some basic information about them, their email, phone number, what the lead source happens to be, such as this. Once we create the new client, the next thing it's going to ask us is, what do we want to do? Do we want to create a listing alert, i.e., this person is a buyer and we want to send them potential uh, listing homes that are available to them, or a market alert, i.e., they're a seller and they want to know more about the area that they live in? And there are a number of different ways that you can sort that. You can do it through either the city, the zip code, neighborhood, the school zone. I love these, or you can draw a custom shape around them. So for example, if this particular client that I was adding this to was only interested in this particular area, I could either delineate this via, like I said, through the zip code, through the address, through a neighborhood, school, or I could draw a shape. And then you just want to preview the market alert, and this is what it looks like, everybody. So this is for the Manhattan Beach area. This is going to go to them bi-weekly, and this is what it looks like. It tells you the number of active buyers that you've got, number of buyer interactions, i.e. they're actively searching for homes, and it gives you a heat map of what they're looking at and where they're looking at it. And then what you would want to do after you've previewed it, just to make sure it's copacetic and you've selected the frequency that you want this to go, you save the market alert to that particular client. And then from that point on, this is what that particular client is going to see. They're going to see a very conversational email that says, here are homes that are available. It's photo centric, or I'm sorry, not homes that are available, but here's the market activity in your area. It is photo centric. It's going to have all of this fancy stuff, looks very professional, ups your game considerably in this process. You also see some activity, buyer activity over time. Graphing of this is really kind of cool. I like the look of this. And then there's also the ability for your client to interact with you. Again, creating a relationship-based system that is helping you to stay sticky with your clients and communicate back and forth. Pretty sweet, huh? Okay, so some testimonials from folks that are using this. As soon as the market alerts feature became available, I set up all of my past clients to receive these on a monthly basis and to have a handoff follow-up method. Within 2 months of setting them up, I received replies from 3 past clients who were interested in selling their current homes. Pretty sweet. I love this. Some more feedback as a result wants to list her house with her. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about engaging Sphere with market alerts. Now we're going to talk about seller confidence with test the market, building seller confidence with test market. So there's one other feature, and it is under the enhanced listing presentations. And what you can do is you can plug in an address. Everybody remembers, or maybe you don't, the Toolkit CMA had that nice little feature in there that says, what if you overprice your home? How many more buyers would you, how many less buyers would you reach if you overprice it? How many more? This is going to generate something very similar to that for you. You enter some basic criteria of the home that you are preparing your listing presentation for, and it spits out a nice little report like this. So again, for here, we have said Hilltop, and we're telling them the target price. Maybe this is the price that you're going in at, or maybe this is 800 is the price that your client told you that they wanted to sell at. So you can produce a nice little report that like this, that it shows real world data based off the number of buyers that are looking in that area. If you were to price your home at 800, you would reach this amount of approximately number of buyers that you would reach is just under 90, just for the sake of this example. If you were to overprice your home, you are going to reach 12% less. Even just $40,000 over, you're going to eliminate almost 90%, over 90% of your buyer pool. Or you're going to eliminate 12% of your buyer pool. Sorry, you're only going to have 90% left. Likewise, if you underprice, you're gonna be exposed to 7% more buyers than you were before. Okay, This is key to having that conversation about um, going in at the right price initially on your listing. That is becoming even more important in a market that is becoming much more balanced, and days on the market's going up. The days of being able to go in overpriced are pretty much over, or they should be. All right. So here you see the differences in the two, as we've already discussed. You've also got some additional tools. Again, the heat map and the graphing of buyers and the exposure to the home over time. And I'm telling you, folks, when you sit down in front of somebody and you show real world hard data presented in an organized, systematic fashion, your clients are going to love you and they're going to be talking about you amongst their neighbors. Once you produce that report, you can export it as a PDF. It produces a nice, professional looking material, presentation material like this that is branded to you and to Century 21. And you can slide this in your listing presentation. Any questions so far? Okay, rolling right along. So step three is sell listings more effectively with the My Listing dashboard. This is actually a pretty cool little tool. All right. So when you have a listing, you're going to have a dashboard and it's going to look something like this. And you will be able to see your listings and you can view analytics and you can also view the reverse prospecting report for this particular property. Let's dig in and see what these look like. Okay, so when you dive in and you select, if you when you select this particular property, the next screen you're going to see is this one, and you're going to go to the listing analytics, and it is going to show you the number of views that you've received, unique viewers. So you've got some people that are coming back 2 and 3 times to look at this property again. You've got graphing over time. You can see some of the history of this particular property. Um, Share the feedback that you've received on the property with sellers, with your seller. I see. So if they've given feedback, like when they do the likes or the dislikes, if people have that have used RealScout have gone through and they've marked and disliked and liked things, they're going to see that information too here. I didn't realize it did that till just now. And then we're going to see, of course, the graphing that we had talked about. So getting access to matching buyers. So there are 375 buyers on this particular report. How do we find out who they are? Because if they've expressed interest in this particular home, it's time to go after them. So here is, remember we were in this listing analytics view before, you can also go to reverse prospecting. And now let's look at the next screen that you see. So what you see is other agents and their particular brokerage. All of this is using other agents that have RealScout searches set up, and you have the ability, your property meets their needs. So you can actually message this agent and you can say, hey, I've got 123 Main Street that you should look at. You've got a buyer that is looking at this particular type of property, just like you do in reverse prospecting within FMLS. You can see where they're from, how many buyers that they have that match your particular criteria, number of buyers who viewed the listing, just all the information you can. You can message that particular buyer or that particular agent, send them a nice little message. It looks like this. And then it will show you their conversations back and forth through the messaging tab within RealScout. So you're messaging within the RealScout app itself. Okay. So now we're going to talk about, this is where the meat and potatoes, where I really wanted to get down to how to leverage RealScout to build your business. So there are 4 ways to invite someone to work with you within the RealScout app. And we're going to talk about each one of those. Looks like the slides got misnumbered. So we're going to talk about social media first. We're going to talk about your landing page, map search pages, and going through an onboarding step-by-step process with each one of your clients. Okay, so let's dig in. So the first one we're going to talk about is using social media tool. And bear with me, for some reason this internet is very slow. So where we're going to go through is the extras tab on the far left toolbar. We're going to go to social media, and pretty much each one of these widgets is kind of in the order that we're going to talk about. So you can go to social media and you can create a map search link that you can then share on your social media for a particular area. Okay, so say you're farming an area, you've got a strong presence, maybe you have created a group for your particular subdivision, and you've got a good number of people that are now on your Facebook group for Cornerstone Estate subdivision. And now that you've got some presence, you want to start marketing yourself. This would be a great way to do it. So you can come in and pull a report for your particular neighborhood, Cornerstone subdivision, enter some basic criteria, and then share it to your social media. And this is the result that is going to spit out. Well, first off, you're going to go through this process to link it onto your social media. And then you're going to have a link that once they click on this home search with you, they're going to come to a page that looks like this, and they're going to have the ability to sign up. Guess what happens when they sign up? They become your client. They become someone that comes into your RealScout. You can then, they will also come into your Moxie, and you can start setting them up on a campaign. You can start marketing yourself to them all through this tiny little tool. Okay, when they do the sign up, they're going to fill out some basic information, which is going to capture that for you. And now you're going to have them in your RealScout and in your CRM, and you can set them up on a campaign, start marketing to them, and have a new piece of business hopefully coming down the pike. All right. Second thing we're going to talk about is a landing page. I think a lot of you have started doing this with just a simple landing page, and it is a landing page is just that, a place where you can direct somebody to land onto, and they can start searching for homes with you. Okay. So let's see how we got there. It was pretty simple. Um, it was actually landing page under the extras. It brings this up. You've got this link and you can share this link anywhere. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. A third way that you can use RealScout is have them just start searching right away. Send them a direct map search link with your unique URL, and they immediately start going into a search page that looks like this. How did we get to that? We got to there. How did we do that? Oh, through your first and last name.realscout.com. So that was just the link that they would use. Okay. The last way to do this is through the interview process, which is using, again, your unique URL with an onboarding at the end. And this is what it does. It sends them through a little 3-step process at the top, collects some basic information about that person. So say this would be a link that you would send somebody that you have not yet entered into your RealScout as a client, because the first thing it's going to do is ask them to enter themselves in as a client. Then it's going to ask them some criteria about the type of home that they want to search for. It's going to ask them some of the features that they want in terms of their tastes, which is a nice thing. This is something that uh, One Home and MLS and Georgia MLS do not do. Okay, so if you have somebody that's particularly looking for hardwoods or stainless steel appliances, natural light, all those kind of things, this is a great way to weed that out of them and figure it out. And then it starts producing homes for them. And here it tells you that they're interested in it, they're not interested in it. And this is a great way to refine the search criteria a little bit. Okay, we've talked about all of these. And that, I'm not going to talk about integrations because that is above our level for today. I wanted to give you those main reasons and main methods with which you can use RealScout to build your clients. So did anybody see any techniques or any methods in here? Either is anybody doing these already? What are you doing, Claire?
I've done the social media landing page a couple of times on different groups that I follow, and
Okay.
there was something else that I did as well that you've been through. I've done a couple of the things that you've went through. As soon as RealScout launched, I did all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of you are actually using your RealScout landing page as kind of a pseudo website.
Mm-hmm.
And that is perfectly acceptable if that is what you are doing. The main purpose, I have to tell you, of a website is let me be very candid with you. Having a website does not necessarily always build you business. The main reason a website is there is when people hear about you, it's the relationship that gets you the business, not your website. But if somebody hears your name and in certain circles you're talked about in real estate, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to Google you. And when they Google you, they need to be able to find something. And that could be a RealScout website, RealScout landing page. It could be your Moxie website. It could be your Century 21 website if from one of the previous legacy systems. But they need to be able to find something. But that's about it. Okay. So a landing page for RealScout is perfectly acceptable. But if you want to build your Moxie website, it literally takes 25 to 30 minutes. It's not difficult to do, and you could have something that is very acceptable and passable and will legitimize your business when somebody goes to Google you. Okay. All right. If anybody has any questions, we got a few minutes left, but otherwise we might finish a little bit early today.
Hey, Shamar here.
Hey, Shamar.
Hey, I guess I've never used RealScout before. I guess I'm just coming with it. So it's just basically an app that you download and sign up for it. Is that what it is?
So when you finish your completion, Shamar, you will your onboarding, you'll get an invite to RealScout. RealScout is an enhanced search tool that is significantly better. It links to FMLS, but it is much more feature rich and enhanced, and your clients are going to love it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll get your email, and I will send you the video for part 1, which we did earlier this week. Unfortunately, you missed that one. That gave you a little bit more of an orientation of what it is, how to work within it, because you picked up on part 2. So.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you.
All
hey,
right.
good morning, everybody. Yes, this is Rashawn. Good morning.
Hey, Rashawn.
Hey, I wanted to find out, do you think the Century 21 website is better to use versus the Moxie website?
Well, one, I would say no. And even if it was better, unfortunately, the other Century 21 sites are being replaced and phased out. They're being replaced by your Moxie website. So if you've got your website set up through Century 21, either through Zap or through Business Builder, those are systems that are being replaced by Moxie. So if you are in that situation, by all means, I'm here to help you go through the setup process, and you can schedule a coaching session with me, and within that 30 minutes, we can probably have the majority of your website pretty much built.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you are very welcome. All right, if anybody doesn't have anything else, we'll tie it up here. Have a great afternoon. If you need anything, let me know.